Eagle King, and you are watching BOP TV.
Hello and welcome to the news on Voice of the People TV. I am Chioma Innocent. Before we begin the news, kindly visit our website. It's www.vop.ng for fresh and trending news. Here are the headlines. Former AGF decries women underrepresentation in politics. Pengasan stops gas and crude supply to Dangote refinery. Delta sacks demotes health workers for extortion. Nurses, midwives begin 6-day warning strike in Zamfara. Abure attacked at Abuja airport. A Labour Party alleges political motivation. Rivers people seek probe into alleged weakest property deal in Florida. And outside Nigeria, the United States revokes Colombian president visa over reckless remarks. In business, Nigerian all-share index closes week higher. In sports, Brentford humble Man United 3-1. And in the world of entertainment, Kiss Daniel denies account freeze, vows legal action. Now the news in detail. The immediate past Accountant General of the Federation, Dr. Oluwatoyin Made, has decried the underrepresentation of women in the country's political space, saying that efforts must be intensified to address this imbalance. A statement issued on Saturday by the media consultant to the former Accountant General, Temitope Uyekon, said Dr. Made described Nigerian women as very brilliant, resourceful, resilient, courageous, and possessing all the required capacity to provide adequate leadership for the betterment of the country. She made the remarks while speaking at the Ogun East Conference for Women held at the Akaribo Palace Hall in Shagamu. Made lamented that despite making up over 62% of the population, less than 35% of Nigerian women are in politics, which is against the United Nations recommendation of 35% affirmative action. Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, Pengasan, has threatened to picket the Dangote refinery over the alleged sacking of 800 workers who joined the association. The association alleged that over 2,000 Indian nationals were recruited by the company to take over the jobs of those sacked by Dangote on Thursday. However, the Dangote refinery said only a few of its workers were fired over repeated cases of sabotage. In a statement, the management of the company said this was an ongoing reorganization which became necessary to safeguard the refinery from repeated acts of sabotage. In the meantime, industrial disputes between the Dangote refinery and the Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria took a dramatic turn on Saturday as the union ordered 7 branches to cut off crude oil and gas supply to the $20 billion facility. In a letter dated September 26 and signed by its General Secretary Lumumba Okubawa, the union accused the refinery's management of sacking its members in retaliation for exercising their constitutional right to join the union. In the directive issued to its branch chairman, Pengasan instructed its branch chairman in key upstream and midstream oil companies to immediately cut off all crude oil and gas supplies to the refinery. The Delta State government has dismissed several health workers found guilty of extorting money from pregnant women and children under 5, despite the state-free healthcare policy for these groups. Others were demoted for related offenses. The State Commissioner for Health, Dr. Joseph Onojeme, disclosed this on Saturday during the flag-off of the Maternal and Neonatal Mortality Reduction Innovation and Initiatives Project Action Plan at Ashaka in Ndokwa East local government area. He said the ministry had intensified monitoring of hospitals to ensure that funds released for maternal and child health care were properly utilized. An action has been taken to draw the attention of the state government to grievances over the new consolidated health salary structure. The Zamfara State chapter of the National Association of Nurses and Midwives has commenced a 6-day warning strike across state-owned general hospitals. The chairman of the union, Sani Shehu, said the action was taken to draw the attention of the state government to their grievances over the new consolidated health salary structure, CONHES. He explained that while the state government approved a new salary structure for consolidated medical salary structure, CONMES, in June, it neglected the CONHES structure. Shehu noted that the union had made several follow-ups and engaged the government up to August, but without any positive outcome. The Nasarawa state government has issued a stern warning to the management of the abattoir in the Akwanga local government area of the state, threatening to shut it down if the facility's poor sanitation conditions are not improved within a space of 1 month. The Commissioner for Environment and Natural Resources, Margaret Elayo, gave the warning on Saturday while briefing journalists shortly after the September sanitation exercise in Akwanga. The commissioner, who was represented by the permanent secretary of the ministry, Hussaini Babayayi, noted that the abattoir's unhygienic practices pose a significant threat to the health and well-being of residents. She explained that the team from the ministry had inspected the facility during the monthly sanitation exercise and discovered the poor state of the abattoir. The Labour Party has cried out after its national chairman, Julius Abure, was allegedly physically attacked by a woman identified as Precious Oruchi, popularly known as Mama P, at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport in Abuja. The incident, which occurred on Friday, has left the party leadership accusing anti-democratic elements of sponsoring the assault. According to a statement signed by the Labour Party spokesperson, Obiora Ifo, Abure was quietly standing in line to board a flight to Benin when Mama P suddenly pounced on him. Ifo said she continued the confrontation on board, ignoring pleas from flight attendants to calm down, and even carried it on after the flight landed in Benin. The party leadership did not hide its anger, calling the incident a suicidal aggression against Abure and insisting it was politically motivated. President Bola Tinubu arrived in Lagos for a walking visit on Friday as Nigeria prepares for a low-key 65th independence anniversary. This is contained in a statement issued by presidential spokesperson Bayo Ononuga in Abuja. President Tinubu traveled to Lagos after attending the coronation of the new Olubadan of Ibadan land, Oba Rashidi Ladoja, in Oyo State. While in Lagos, the president is expected to engage with key private sector leaders and senior government officials. He will travel to Imo State on Tuesday to inaugurate projects executed by Governor Hope Uzodinma. As part of the independence anniversary, the president will also commission the remodeled National Theatre in Lagos, which has been renamed the Wole Soyinka Center for Culture and the Creative Arts. A former Minister of Information, Professor Jerry Ghana, has called for deliberate efforts to raise and support quality leadership ahead of the 2027 general elections. He insisted that Nigeria can only overcome its current challenges if men and women of character, integrity, and competence emerge to lead the nation. Ghana, a chieftain of the People's Democratic Party (PDP), made the call while speaking on Saturday in Abuja, speaking with journalists shortly after the 2025 reunion of the Northern State Christian Elders Forum. Meanwhile, the Lagos State chapter of the People's Democratic Party has dismissed a purported state congress allegedly organized by a faction loyal to former PDP Deputy National Chairman Chief Olabode George. State Chairman Philip Ivoji told journalists in Lagos on Saturday during a news conference that the exercise was a charade, invalid, illegal and unconstitutional. insisting that the tenure of the current executive runs until March 2026. Citing Section 25, subsection 1 of the PDP Constitution, he argued that only the recognized state chairman could preside over such a Congress. Ivoji argued that jettisoning these aspects of the party's constitution renders the Congress invalid, illegal, and unconstitutional, adding that the exercise would only deepen divisions within the party. There have been concerns over allegations that most Nigerian politicians use looted funds to acquire luxury properties in foreign countries. Most recent was the allegation made by human rights activist Omoyele Sowore against the minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, over a multi-million-dollar property bought by the minister and his family in Florida. VOPTV investigator Desmond Anyang completes this story.
Said Wike, who earns an estimated annual salary of about 7.5 million naira as a public servant, cannot afford to buy such properties if not with looted money.
I have never taken His Excellency, the former governor of Rivers State, serious for any time. That's because he has a history, as far as to the best of my knowledge, of saying different things on different subjects just as it suits him. I cannot hold him on any statement that he has said that he has been consistent with. To that extent, I always take his responses to issues as laughable. Yes, it's a field day for him because we're in a country and indeed under a leadership that is non-accountable. We have state institutions that are only interested in Yahoo boys and petty thieves, and not serious state resource miners. While I may not have the entire facts, the allegations are pretty very, very heavy, and his statement does not answer to them, as it were. It's like when he told us that he bought a Rolls Royce, and when he was pushed a little by the channel's interviewer, he said his father was a general manager of many companies. I never knew his father to be any general manager. At least by God's grace, some of us know his father. I knew him in Rivers State as a student. So it's funny when he says his father was a general manager without telling us the companies his father was a general manager in that allowed him and perhaps his siblings to amass, or perhaps he was the only one among his siblings that were able to amass that much of wealth through his father's super wealth. But that's Nigeria for us. Nobody questions. Even our legal system is funny. We're one of the only countries where you find a legal system that says that it is he who accuses that should prove. Otherwise, even a typical good thief should be freed. Elsewhere, where things are working, the reverse is the case. It is he who owns a wealth that explains how he made his wealth. But in Nigeria, it is the other way. He who thinks that one has wealth in abnormal way should prove how that wealth is abnormal. So that itself gives you a framework to allow for looters and miners, as it were, of public fund. But be that as it may, if we have institutions, both his statement and the allegation are worth investigating.
So if the president is serious about fighting corruption, this is a matter that they should take. We should hear a statement from the president. If a minister in your administration is being accused of money laundering, indirectly it touches on you. It touches on the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And these are things his handlers should be telling him. As for the FCT minister, I also expect him to come clean, although he has made statements about his wife's in-laws and all of that. We cannot begrudge him because we don't have the facts. But what we are saying is there should be open and transparent investigation into those allegations. So that if it is just a Sowore that is just making wild allegations, Sowore will also be held to account under the relevant laws of the country. So it is important that they open an investigation into that matter. Then an investigation should also mean that we should begin to ask politicians to account for how they make their monies to build such expensive properties. We should begin to, when we see such expensive properties, we should begin to, as citizens, we should begin to also interrogate, what does this person do outside politics? What business does he do? What job does he do? Yes, some of them are lawyers, some of them are engineers, but are they practicing engineers? Are they practicing lawyers? How many years have they even practiced to give them such stupendous wealth? So these are the things we should interrogate.
They said the FCT minister, Wike, allegedly used his wife, children, and in-laws to acquire properties worth millions of dollars in Winter Springs, Florida. The people called on anti-graft agencies in Nigeria and the United States of America to carry out a thorough investigation into the allegation against the FCT minister.
If it's his in-laws, who are they? How did they come by such assets? When did they buy the assets? How did they buy the asset? And when did they do the transfer? There are questions that a serious-minded investigating institution should be able to unravel.
We can come in to say the wife of the parents. I think they should go and spell it out in the US. They should spell it out there. And we will get the feedback. It's an accusation, a direct accusation of money laundering and using his wife and children's name. And before now, they've accused him too of land grabbing in Abuja, using his children, and they try to turn it because of Nigeria. But the Sowore has gone extra mile to write to the attorney. No, they should go and defend it.
Most residents of the state refuse to talk about what they know of the FCT minister and family for fear of intimidation and witch hunting. The people noted countries like the United States of America, the United Kingdom, France, and Australia of aiding and abetting corrupt politicians in Nigeria, stressing that these countries have become a safe haven for Nigerian corrupt public officials. In Port Harcourt, Desmond Anyanwu, VOP TV.
Many thanks to Desmond for that in-depth investigation. Now, the Abuja Leadership Center on Thursday held a one-day youth leaders clinic at Dennis Osadebe University in Asaba. The program, themed Empowering the Next Generation Leaders, gathered student leaders from Delta, Edo, and Bayelsa State to promote civic responsibility and ethical leadership. Delta State Commissioner for Secondary Education, Rose Ezewu, commended the initiative, while the center's director, Professor Philip Dahida, said it was aimed at addressing Nigeria's leadership challenges. Retired DIG Marvel Akboibo stressed any leadership training as participants pledged to uphold service, integrity, and civic values in their schools and communities. Participants described the clinic as impactful, calling for service, integrity, and civic responsibility amongst youth leaders. You're still watching the news on Voice of the People television. We'll bring you more stories after this break. Stay tuned. Welcome back. The Lagos state government has begun demolishing illegal and unsafe structures at the trade fair complex in Ojo. Authorities say the move is aimed at restoring order and ensuring public safety, but the exercise has left many traders concerned about their businesses and livelihoods. VOP TV's Matthew Oguswada provides further details in this report.
At the trade fair market in Ojo, the Lagos state government has begun demolishing illegal structures, saying that the move is to restore public safety and security. And as you can see, traders are recounting their loss and the impact on their livelihoods. According to the Senior Special Assistant to the Lagos State Governor on New Media, Jubril Gawat, the demolition is targeting illegal buildings erected on road setbacks and drainage channels. But here at the Trade Fair Complex, where no fewer than 19 buildings have already been demolished, the exercise has sparked outrage among traders, many of whom claim they were not given prior notice.
They just came yesterday and demolished many shops, this is people resources. Mostly Igbo people resources, and they were demolished. Even the market, not only here, go inside the market, you see many blocks as demolished, and this is thoroughly not acceptable. It's not good. And we are one Nigeria. We say that we are one Nigeria. This center, is it one Nigeria?
It's very sad because we were never informed about this. We may never see this coming, but I'm sure if they had told us about this, we don't even know the reason they were not behind this, brother. So we're still trying to find my drugs upon workplace.
I people their parents, I pay, personal parts in Lagos State. When I schooled here, we always say cool Nigeria and all that. When the issue happened, I was actually upstairs with about 3 foreigners. At the first time they're going to have the 18 degree on this project, trying to do JD, it was in one of our projects here. About time to talk this, that basic something there. And there are section for bread for children, mall, or to be small at all that. But when it happened, for the serious camera for their light and what is it called? Tear everywhere and all that. So you got secured our social field like it's a pop.
Before they come for demolition, they normally write all these things, but they didn't write. They didn't write all along, but they just came yesterday and write and started demolition. So this is how we saw it, no notification.
Meanwhile, in some section of the trade fair market, buildings remain untouched. Traders there are pleading with the government not to extend the demolition, even as the market leadership prepares to meet with the Lagos state officials next Tuesday.
Where they are destroyed this thing, they leave almost some building. They leave some buildings, some plaza. Then jump about 2 plaza like this one and the one, that bank in the front there. Then jump it. Then I fed this one and this one. Even the front the other side, then jump some many plazas where they destroy it. So I don't know why. So maybe they need a settlement. Only that settlement they could have come and tell us. So look at what they are planning to do. Then from there everybody will thinking what to do.
They should leave Igbo people alone. They should leave us alone. Imagine sweating. You're not paying us. I'm a youth. I just graduated from Uniben, nursing. No internship, no nothing. We are applying. They're not giving us. I'm here. I'm helping my mom. So they should leave us alone. We are trying to make ends meet. Picking little things, trying to make money. And you are demolishing it. It's not fair.
While the government insists this operation is about safety and order, many traders at the trade fair market say the few caught in the middle and are left with uncertainty about their future. We will continue to monitor these developments closely, providing you with further updates. Reporting from the trade fair market in Ojo, Lagos, Matthew Oguswada for Voice of the People Television.
Quite unfortunate, but we continue to hope for a speedy resolution. In the meantime, thank you very much, Matthew, for that report. The Lagos State government says it has full authority to enforce physical planning regulations at the trade fair complex in Ojo, despite its federal ownership. Commissioner for Fiscal Planning, Oluyinka Olumide, cited a 2003 Supreme Court ruling and the Lagos State Planning Law of 2019 as a legal backing. He says all developers within the complex must obtain planning permits, noting a history of non-compliance and repeated warnings, including a 2023 directive to regularize all structures. Olumide stressed that the ongoing enforcement is routine and aimed at ensuring safety and livability across the state. Meanwhile, the Kaduna State Police Command has recovered 45 phones from a gang of armed robbers. Also, the command announced the arrest of 6 armed robbery suspects, 5 receivers of stolen property, and 3 others for unlawful possession of firearms. The command's public relations officer, DSP Mansia Hassan, in a statement said operatives of Operation Fushinkada Tracking and Response Team effected the arrest between September 10 and 18. According to him, on September 11, operatives acting on credible intelligence nabbed one notorious gang leader, Fahad Babangida, along with his accomplices, Ahmed Lawal and Salahuddin Ibrahim. The suspects were intercepted while planning to attack a retired NNPC staff. Further investigation led to the arrest of another syndicate under Babangida, identified as Isa Musa and Usman Abdullahi, who confessed to shop break-ins and the robbery around the Rigasa axis. Similarly, on September 10, one Bello was apprehended for phone snatching. His arrest led the police to the recovery of 45 handsets and a laptop, as well as the arrest of his accomplices. The Inspector General of Police, IGP Kayode Egbetokun, has said the former Inspector General of Police, the late Dr. Solomon Arase, will be remembered for his distinguished service to the Nigerian police force and the country. He said the Guard of Honor was a solemn duty carried out with deep respect as a final farewell to the late former police chief. According to Egbetokun, the parade was not merely a ceremonial event, but the last guard of honor to be mounted by the police force in tribute to the departed former IG. The National Pension Commission, PENCOM, has assured pensioners across Nigeria that all outstanding pension increases approved by the federal government will be fully implemented before the end of the year. It said this move is backed by 758 billion naira bond released by President Bola Tinubu. Omolola Oluraran, Director General of PENCOM, gave the assurance during a courtesy visit to the headquarters of the Nigeria Union of Pensioners, NUP, in Abuja. According to her, the protection of pensioners and the safeguarding of their benefits remain at the heart of PENCOM's mandate. And with the 758 billion naira bond approved by President Tinubu, pension increases earlier announced by the government will soon be fully implemented. The world marks the International Day for the Total Elimination of Nuclear Weapons, observed every September 26. The day calls for renewed global commitment to nuclear disarmament and a safer, more peaceful future. VOPTV's correspondent Matthew Ogunswada has more in this report.
Greatest dangers to humanity and international peace. Established by the United Nations, the International Day for the Total Elimination of Nuclear Weapons serves as a reminder of the urgent need to rid the world of these destructive arms. Despite progress in disarmament talks, several nations still possess vast nuclear arsenals, raising concerns about global security, accidental launches, and the devastating impact of potential use.
What nuclear weapon is a device of high density destructive force, in the sense that the nuclear weapon derives its destructive force through fission or the combination of it. And the origin of nuclear weapon is derived from mineral resources, that is uranium and the likes of it. If you can remember those days, geography taught us what we call volcanic erosion. Volcanoes, volcano erupting there are chemical reactions that cause that explosion. So it's a weapon of mass destruction. And that is why it's not condoned by many countries. Even there some war powers like US, Russia, Israel, India, China, and France, they still have a lot of it in their possession. Yet clamoring for its disarmament. You know, everyone wouldn't want to have it, but diplomatically, a lot of them have it as a defensive force. You know, going as a security personnel, we consider security as a major issue of preventing or securing life and properties. And anything that is injurious massively against humanity is likened to what is not tolerated worldwide. And the major instrument of destruction is nuclear weapon.
Advocates stress that eliminating nuclear weapons is not just a political goal, but a humanitarian imperative, as the catastrophic consequences of any nuclear detonation would transcend beyond borders.
Okay, presently, insecurity is the order of the day, and I can take it back to the leadership. When you get bad leadership who think less about humanity and its protection, before you know it, they will slack in their responsibilities of securing life and property. And to disarm weapons such as nuclear weapon and every other armament, weapons of destruction, is not supposed to, in the first place, to go to the hands of criminals. Arms and ammunition are not supposed to be exposed to less humans. What do I mean by less human? People who doesn't have conscience, who doesn't care for living. And for a country to really prevent such thing to happen, that they go out as much as they can to train experts on weapon handling and management. And if the weapons are not secured, it will enter into the criminal-minded people who want to take advantage of other people, either men destroy and take whatever they want to take from such people.
As nations gather to reflect on this day, the call is for stronger international cooperation, transparency, and commitment to a world free of nuclear threat. Matthew Ugunswada, reporting for Voice of the People TV.
Thank you, Matthew, for that report. We'll now take a short break and return with foreign, business, sports, and entertainment stories. Stay with us.
Good morning. It's the start of a beautiful day. Or start your day right with a healthy dose of news, fun, and inspiration. Join us on VOP this morning for the latest news, trending topics, and uplifting stories to set your day on the right vibe. From news and current events to lifestyle and entertainment, you are covered.
VOP this morning, 8 a.m., Monday through Friday.
Welcome back. We now take you to news from outside the shores of Nigeria, where President Donald Trump has ordered the deployment of United States troops to war-ravaged Portland, Oregon, authorizing use of full force if needed. Saturday's announcement marks the further expansion of deployment of troops in American cities amid the wider crackdown by the Trump administration on illegal immigrants. Portland's Democrat lawmakers had previously pushed back on Trump's plans to deploy troops. The Immigration and Customs Enforcement ICE facility in Portland had been targeted by protesters, sometimes leading to violent clashes in which some federal agents have been injured. Trump's Saturday morning post does not specify whether he intends to activate National Guard or regular U.S. military. Meanwhile, the FBI has fired a group of agents who were pictured kneeling at a racial justice protest over the death of George Floyd. U.S. media reports citing unnamed sources familiar with the matter. The agents reportedly took the knee alongside others during a demonstration in Washington, D.C. in 2020. Floyd, a black man, had been killed by a police officer who knelt on his neck in May that year, sparking global outcry. Between 15 to 20 agents are thought to have been sacked on Friday, although the exact number is unclear. The FBI Agents Association condemned their termination in a statement, saying the agents' right had been violated. Reported firings come as the Trump administration seeks to purge what it sees as left-wing and so-called woke policies and officials from every part of the federal government. Several right-wing commentators had criticized agents and police officers who were pictured kneeling on social media at the time. The United States has said it will revoke Colombian President Gustavo Petro's visa after he urged U.S. soldiers to disobey his American counterpart Donald Trump during remarks at a rally in New York. The State Department described Petro's comments at a pro-Palestinian street protest on Friday as reckless and incendiary. The Colombian leader was in the U.S. for the United Nations General Assembly, where earlier this week he called for a criminal inquiry into the Trump administration's airstrikes on alleged drug trafficking boats in the Caribbean. Colombian media reported that Petro was already on his way back to Bogota when the U.S. announced it would cancel his visa. Drones have been seen near military facilities, including Denmark's largest, following a series of incidents that caused air disruption earlier this week. The devices were observed above Karup Air Base, amongst others, forcing it to briefly close its airspace to commercial traffic. Possible sightings were also reported in Germany, Norway, and Lithuania. It is the latest in a string of suspicious drone activity in Denmark, raising concerns about the nation's vulnerability to aerial attack and sparking fears of potential Russian involvement. Danish authorities said Thursday's incursions appeared to be a hybrid attack, but cautioned that they had no evidence to suggest Moscow was behind it. Friday's incident took place around 8:15 local time and lasted several hours. GT officer Simon Skelsje told newsmen he said police could not comment on where the drones had come from as they had not shut them down, adding that police were cooperating with the Danish military in their investigation. In another development, more than 20 people have been rescued in Kenya from a suspected human trafficking ring that lured them with job offers in Russia but intended to send them to fight in Ukraine, according to police. It follows an intelligence-led raid on a residential apartment on the outskirts of the capital, Nairobi, where officers seized recruitment materials, travel documents, and job offer letters. One suspect accused of coordinating the victims' travel to Russia in September and October have been arrested. There have been growing concerns about the rising number of Kenyans being trafficked abroad under false job promises. A young Kenyan athlete was recently captured in Ukraine, saying he was tricked into joining the Russian army. A total of 22 Kenyans were found in an apartment in the Athi River area, awaiting processing to Russia. Police said the mysterious trafficking syndicate was luring Kenyans with job offers in Moscow, only to send them to fight for the Russian military in Ukraine. From foreign stories to business now, where the Nigerian All-Share Index ASI closed the week ended September 26 higher, gaining 287.68 points to settle at 142,133.03. This represents a 0.2% rise from the previous week's close of 141,845.35, driven by rallies in select large cap stocks, and brings the month-to-date gain to 1.31%. Market activity picked up slightly, with total volume rising to 2.9 billion shares from 2.7 billion shares the previous week. Market capitalization grew to 89.96 trillion naira from 89.74 trillion naira the previous week, mirroring the modest but broad-based positive price action in the market. Still in business, an increase in the price of petrol across Nigeria is expected in a few days as marketers brace up to begin the purchase of petrol in dollars from Dangote Refinery. Abubakar Shatima, the national president of the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, IPMAN, informed newsmen of the imminent increase in price, stating that the development is not expected to impact supply. He explained that the current exchange rate will affect the price at which the products will be sold subsequently. From business to sports, where Manchester United on Saturday suffered a 3-1 defeat to Brentford at the GTEC Community Stadium, a result that has piled more pressure on manager Ruben Amorim. Brazilian forward Igor Thiago was the star of the show, scoring twice in the opening 20 minutes. United briefly sparked hope in the 26th minute when Benjamin Yako pulled one back after a scramble in the Brentford box. What seemed like a turning point came in the 71st minute when United captain Bruno Fernandes stepped up for a penalty after Brian Mbeumo was fouled. But Brentford goalkeeper Calvin Kelleher saved his kick. Still in sports, Ghana has suspended all boxing activities following the tragic death of professional super middleweight boxer Ernest Bahubali Akoshe. Ghana Web said the 32-year-old died on September 23 at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital in Accra, 11 days after suffering severe injuries in a bout at the Bukom Boxing Arena. This marks the second professional boxing death in Ghana within 6 months. In March, Nigerian boxer Gabriel Oluwasegun Olaiwaju also died after a fight in Accra. The National Sports Authority, in consultation with the Ministry of Sport and Recreation, announced a suspension with immediate effect, citing athlete safety as the top priority. We take you straight into entertainment news, where Nigerian singer and songwriter Oluwatobiloba Anidugbe, popularly known as Keys Daniel, has debunked a viral report claiming that the court ordered the freezing of his personal and business accounts over a contract dispute. The story, which spread widely on social media, alleged that the Buga crooner was directed to pay 200,000 euros in damages for failing to honor a show despite receiving a $50,000 in advance payment, and that his account with Access Bank were frozen by the court order. However, in a statement, the singer's PR team described the report as false, misleading, and a deliberate attempt to tarnish the artist's reputation. It added that legal steps will be taken against those behind the fake report, emphasizing that the artist remains focused on his music and upcoming shows. Still on entertainment, the terrorism case against kneecap rapper Liam Ohanida was dismissed by a UK court on Friday due to a technical error. Liam Ohanida was charged in May for allegedly displaying a flag in support of the banned organization Hezbollah at a gig in London in November of last year. The 27-year-old rapper, who performs under the stage name Mo Chara, denied the charge and has described it as political since then. During Friday's trial, Judge Paul Goldspring told Woolwich Crown Court that the charge against Ohanide was unlawful and null, as the charge was not brought within the 6-month time limit. In his ruling, the judge outlined the permission was not given to the Director of Public Prosecutions, DPP, to consent to the prosecution until May 22, a day after Anide was charged. And that's it on the news hour. Before we go, a quick look at the headlines. We told you that the former AGF has decried women's underrepresentation in politics. Bangasan stops gas and crude supply to Dangote refinery. Delta sacks and demotes health workers for extortion. Nurses, midwives begin 6-day warning strike in Zamfara. Aburi attacked at Abuja airport. Labour Party alleges political motivation. Rivers people seek probe into Wike's alleged property deal in Florida. On the foreign scene, U.S. revokes Colombian president's visa over reckless remarks. In business, Nigerian all-share index closes week higher. In sport, Brentford humble Man United 3-1. And in the world of entertainment, Keys Daniel denies account freeze reports. Do well to subscribe to our YouTube channel. On YouTube, we are Voice of the People TV, and on other social media platforms, we are at VOP TV Live. If you witness news happening near you, we want to hear from you. Send your eyewitness reports, event coverage requests, photos or videos directly via WhatsApp to 0814-606-4057. You can also reach our newsroom by email at news@vop.ng. I am Chioma Innocent. Thank you for watching.